All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are breaking down the first half of the screenplay for Stanley Kubrick's absolute masterpiece, Full Metal Jacket. We're going to go through it almost page by page to see exactly how the script builds a killer from the ground up. You hear this line on the very first day of boot camp. And you have to understand, this isn't just some empty threat. No, this is a mission statement. This is the whole point of the brutal process we're about to see. It's the destination, whether these guys know it or not. And that journey kicks off right here on Paris Island. You see, the screenplay doesn't present this place as just a training ground, it's a machine. And the machine's first job? To erase every single thing that makes you an individual. Starting, of course, with that very first scene where they shave every recruit's head down to the bone. You can almost feel the shock of their arrival. These freshly shaved recruits are literally forced to stand on painted yellow footprints, their very first lesson in just falling in line. And it's right here that they meet the man who's going to be the architect of their entire transformation, Gunnery Sergeant Gernheim. And just like that, Gernheim makes the core principle of this whole thing crystal clear. Before you can be built up into a Marine, you have to be completely convinced that you are less than nothing. Your old self, your civilian identity, it has to be utterly demolished. Now, here's what's so fascinating. Gernheim's cruelty, it's not random. It's not just for kicks. It's a precise, calculated method. The script is very clear that every insult, every punch, it all has a purpose. It's all part of this engine of deconstruction and, eventually, reconstruction. So how does it work? Well, his whole doctrine really breaks down into 4 key steps. First, you erase their identity. Leonard Pratt isn't Leonard Pratt anymore, he's Gomer Pyle. Step 2, you instill fear. Beatings are just a part of the daily routine. 3, you isolate and humiliate. Pyle gets singled out constantly for being overweight and clumsy. And finally, step 4, you rebuild them as one single unit, teaching them to think, act, and even breathe by the numbers. This line is it's chilling, right? It totally exposes the machine's twisted logic. It creates this bizarre form of equality by stripping everyone down to their most basic, worthless level. It doesn't matter who you were before you got here. Any identity, racial, personal, you name it, is just another obstacle for the machine to destroy. So, to really show us how this machine works, the screenplay zooms in on 2 particular test subjects, Private Joker and Private Pyle. They are basically 2 completely different responses to the exact same brutalizing force. So on one side, you have Joker. He survives by using his wit as a shield. He talks back, he gets punished for it, sure, but he somehow manages to hold on to a tiny piece of himself. He adapts. And then you have Pyle. Pyle is just soft. He's physically clumsy, emotionally fragile. That weird grin he can't control, his constant screw-ups, they make him the machine's #1 target. He can't adapt, he just breaks. And this is a crucial moment. Pyle is crying, he's desperate for help, and Joker, the guy who was literally ordered to mentor him, just shuts him down with this unbelievably cold line. So why does he do it? Because the machine has already taught him its most important lesson. Empathy is a weakness. To survive in this system, you have to detach. From this point on, things take an even darker turn. Gernheim makes a decision. Pyle's failures aren't just his own anymore. Now they're the fault of the entire platoon. The screenplay lays it out, step by step, a direct line from A to B. Gernheim finds a jelly donut in Pyle's footlocker. For Pyle's mistake, he punishes the entire platoon. Then he basically gives them an order without saying it. You have not given Private Pyle the right motivation. And that night, the platoon carries out the sentence. They become the weapon. They turn on one of their own. And right here, in this one moment, Joker crosses a line he can never uncross. The script makes a point of telling us he hesitates. He knows this is wrong, but then he gives in. He joins the mob, and he becomes a part of the very same brutality he used to just watch from the sidelines. He is now, officially, a functioning cog in the machine. After that assault, something inside Private Pyle just snaps. The screenplay describes his transformation into the perfect soldier, but it's a process that completely hollows him out. The person named Leonard is just gone, and what's left in his place is a weapon. The script gives us this simple, absolutely devastating contrast. Before the attack, Leonard would cry himself to sleep from pain and loneliness, a human reaction. After, there's just silence. The part of him that could feel that pain has been completely extinguished. And hey, look at the results. He becomes a model recruit. His rifle handling is suddenly flawless. His concentration is total. But he doesn't grin anymore. He doesn't show a single ounce of emotion. And the only thing he talks to is his rifle. He has achieved a kind of mechanical perfection, but it came at the cost of his entire soul.
And you know what? Pyle absolutely mastered Gerheim's most important lesson. It was never about the gun, it was always about the will to use it. The machine succeeded. It gave him that hard heart. By every single metric they use on Parris Island, Private Pyle is a complete success. And that brings us to the final night, the platoon's last night on the island. The weapons have all been forged, they're polished, they're ready for war. But the screenplay is about to show us the terrible truth. When you build a machine designed to create killers, you don't always get to control what it spits out at the end. There's about to be a major malfunction.
The whole first act, everything we've seen, has been building to this one single, terrifying question. What is the real price of turning a man into a weapon? The climax is about to give us a brutal, unforgettable answer.
And here it is, the first sign of total, catastrophic failure. The Rifleman's Creed is supposed to be a nightly ritual, everyone speaking in unison. But tonight, Pyle's voice booms out all by himself, getting louder and louder, filled with this terrifying belief. He's taken the creed literally. His rifle is his life.
Even now, can you believe it? Gerheim doesn't see the danger. All he sees is a breakdown in discipline. He's the master of this universe, right? So he confronts his creation with the full force of his authority, totally blind to the fact that the old rules just don't apply anymore. But Joker sees it. His terrified warning is the moment of truth. The final product of the machine is now armed, it's operational, and it is completely outside of its creator's control. And there it is. That's the cost. The weapon turns on its maker and then on itself. The machine's perfect creation fulfills its deadly purpose with horrifying efficiency before self-destructing, and in doing so, it completes the awful logic of its own transformation.
And we end with this final, chilling line from the screenplay's narration. It's the ultimate sick paradox. We see a horrifying tragedy. The machine sees a success. By its own brutal standards, Gerheim's process worked perfectly. He promised he would make a killer, and he did. Well done.